Despite being diagnosed as infertile, I vividly remember giving birth to a child, a beautiful daughter. My husband keeps taking me to fertility treatments and recently claimed I have mental health issues. I know he's having an affair and just waiting for the right moment to divorce me. He must have done something to erase my memory and hidden my daughter. Chung-hang, I can agree to a divorce, but please, I beg you, give me back my daughter. You're crazy. Sweetheart, don't be scared. Mommy's here. In the dead of night, I woke up from that dream again, springing upright like a compressed coil released. What now? Beside me, a drowsy Chung-hang turned on the light, looking at me in confusion. Honey, I remember now, we have a child. In my recurring dream, there's a dense fog all around, yet I can clearly see a little girl crying out for her mommy. I rushed to hold her, and her sobbing stopped instantly. Mommy, mommy, her tear-streaked face broke into a sweet smile. She wrapped her little arms around my neck, her soft skin exuding a faint, milky scent. This time, I finally saw her adorable little face clearly. You're spouting nonsense again. It's true. Don't you remember? I remember now, a little girl with chubby cheeks, around 2 or 3 years old, wearing a yellow duck hair clip. Isn't it? You're losing it again. Tomorrow, I'll take you to see a doctor. Chung-hang said with resignation. Losing it? Why don't you ever believe me? Not even a little. I got up in a frenzy, searching the house. I knew I must look more and more like a lunatic in his eyes, but I couldn't care less. The feeling of my daughter in my dream was so real. I'm certain she exists. I need to find her, desperately. Chung-hang sighed deeply from the bed. I can't live like this anymore. He pulled the blanket over his head, cocooning himself to shut me out. Ignoring his indifference, I frantically searched every corner, hoping to find any trace of my child. A bottle? Diapers? Tiny shoes or socks? Anything. But I tore the house apart and found nothing. Then I remembered the photo album in the drawer. Inside were photos of my childhood, our wedding, friends, and Chung-hang and me. I flipped through each one carefully, but none matched the image of the little girl in my mind. How could that be? The drawer also contained a stack of medical records, my name, Yu Jiawen, printed on them. I opened one casually. On it was written, ovarian infertility, polycystic ovary syndrome. Infertile? Yes, the brutal truth hit me like a cold slap. I've been undergoing infertility treatments for years. Chung-hang dropped me off at the psychiatric department of the hospital and handed me over to Su-ching. He left in a hurry, without a word of concern, like a courier dumping a package. Thankfully, seeing Su-ching made me feel much better. She's my best friend and an experienced psychologist. You remembered having a child again? Su-ching's voice was gentle.
Yes.
Su-ching, I suspect Chung-hang is hiding something from me. Why do you think that? He's been colder and more distant. He always avoids the topic of children. I suspect he wants to divorce me. Maybe because there's someone else, I don't know. He keeps denying I have a child, probably because he's hidden her, trying to keep her for himself. And he's constantly accusing me of being mentally ill. Su-ching, you have to help me. Jiawen, calm down. I'll help you, I promise. Just trust me, okay? Su-ching held my hand, her touch soothing my frazzled nerves. What's your child's name? I froze, a sharp pain shooting through my head. I can't remember. When did you first feel you had a child? I dug through my memories, trying desperately to reach into their depths. About 3 or 4 months ago. That day, I was walking home after work, passing through the neighborhood, when I saw many children playing. So cute. Whenever I see babies, I can't help but stop and play with them. There was a little one in a stroller with a chubby, round face. When he smiled sweetly at me, showing his tiny baby teeth, my heart melted. The baby's mother said, "He likes you." I laughed. I must have a natural bond with kids. I adore them. I can't walk past a baby without stopping. They're just too adorable. Suddenly, I heard a soft, mommy echo in my mind, and I felt a small, warm kiss on my cheek, carrying that familiar milky scent. I froze, startled. Where had this image come from? Was it imagination or a memory? But when I tried to recall it more clearly, the chubby face in my mind dissolved like a soap bubble in the air, vanishing the moment I reached for it. Su Qing asked, "And that's when you became certain you had a child?"
No.
After that, memories started coming back gradually, and I realized I really do have a child. In my mind, there's always this recurring scene. A sunny morning, the blurred outline of a little girl breaking free from a man in the distance, stumbling and toddling toward me like an adorable baby penguin. A wave of sweet, tender love washes over me. I open my arms to embrace her, but suddenly, the little figure is swallowed up by a dense fog, vanishing before my eyes. My heart tightens painfully, but just as quickly, the ache feels like a fleeting illusion, leaving behind only an endless white expanse. Since then, I've been plagued with sleepless nights, haunted by the thought of an adorable little girl hiding in the recesses of my mind. Even in sleep, she appears in my dreams. I search frantically, as though trying to empty my brain and sift through every corner, terrified I might overlook something. She's as slippery as an eel, playing hide-and-seek with me in my own mind. Hide-and-seek. Su Qing looked skeptical. But I finally found her, I said firmly, my eyes lighting up. In that misty game of hide-and-seek, I suddenly caught her. The little girl's face came into focus, her round cheeks, her bright, wide eyes, and a yellow duck hairpin on her head. What a darling little baby. That chubby, soft little sweetheart, with arms like lotus roots, clung to my neck, resting her cheek on my shoulder. Her skin was tender and soft, her scent sweet like milk. Holding her filled me with a deep sense of joy and security, as though I had the whole world in my arms. Mommy, Mommy, my baby. Holding her felt like grasping a lifeline, pulling myself up to unearth more memories. Morning sickness, the flutter of a baby kicking inside my belly, the pain of labor, her first wail, the way she'd clench her tiny fists while nursing, her sunny smiles when she woke up. I couldn't hold back anymore. I broke into tears. Su Qing, I miss her so much. My baby must be so scared without her mommy. How could I have forgotten her? I don't even know where she is or how long we've been apart. Su Qing, I can't trust Jinghang anymore. You have to help me. Help me find my child. But Su Qing furrowed her brows slightly. Of course, I'll help you. But I need to tell you the truth, Jiawen. You've never had a child. Su Qing's tone was soft but steady. I stared at her in disbelief, as though she too had suddenly become untrustworthy. Why would you say that? Why are you siding with Jinghang to deceive me? Jiawen, we've known each other for 10 years. I know you well. Ever since you got married, you've been coming to me for counseling every 6 months, claiming you have a child. But the truth is, you've never been pregnant. Each time, I've worked to help you distinguish between reality and fantasy. You're lying. I understand how much you want a child, but some things can't be forced. The pressure you've been under, combined with your subconscious fear that Jinghang might leave you because of infertility, is taking a toll on both of you. No. I remember. I shook my head in anguish, feeling like I was lost in an endless fog, utterly trapped. After a moment of thought, Su Qing pulled out her phone and showed me a picture. You said the yellow duck hairpin looked like this, right? The photo showed a foreign baby, dressed only in a diaper, smiling brightly. Her soft, curly hair was adorned with a yellow duck hairpin. Yes, that's it, I said with anticipation, looking at Su Qing anxiously for an explanation. This is an advertisement for baby formula in the elevator of your apartment building. You pass by it countless times every day. You long for a child so deeply that it etched itself into your subconscious. Every detail in your mind is imagined, not remembered. No, the little girl in my dreams is different. She's so vivid. She might just be a child you saw somewhere else and unknowingly crafted into your memory. Crafted memories? Su Qing pulled a file from her desk and handed me a photocopy. Here's the gynecological exam you had 6 months ago. Your uterus shows clear signs of never having carried a pregnancy. That's impossible. My head pounded. I remember. Your polycystic ovary syndrome is a common condition. It doesn't mean you're absolutely infertile. With treatment, there's still hope. The real barrier is your mindset. Only by confronting reality can you step out of the fog. Su Qing's words left me half doubting, half believing. After leaving her office, I secretly went to another hospital for a checkup on my uterus. The results were identical to the previous report: ovarian infertility caused by polycystic ovary syndrome. I felt more confused than ever. Could that adorable little girl really just be a figment of my subconscious imagination? Chung Heng came to pick me up. Seeing the weariness etched into his face, I felt a pang of guilt. Maybe I really was sick, and it was wearing him down as well. How are you feeling? I don't know. Maybe I'm just under too much pressure. I'm sorry. It's okay. You'll get better. Chung Heng drove us home. In the rearview mirror, I caught a glimpse of his eyes, so calm, so void of emotion. In the misty, steamy bathroom, I sank into the warm water, hoping to ease the exhaustion in my body, maybe even dissolve those inexplicable memories from my mind. As the steam swirled around me, I gently placed my hand on my abdomen. Had a baby really been there before? Suddenly, a vivid pain shot through my body, as if my nerves were reliving childbirth. The labor pains so sharp I could recall clawing at my hair. In the blur of agony, everything else faded away. Under the harsh glare of white lights, the doctor examined me and said the amniotic fluid was cloudy. They were worried about oxygen deprivation for the baby, so an emergency C-section was needed. I snapped out of the memory and stood in front of the mirror. On my abdomen, just above my pelvis, was a faint, finger-length white scar. I trembled uncontrollably, almost forgetting to breathe. I lightly touched the scar. It felt slightly firm to the touch. There was no doubt it was the mark of a C-section. I have a child. You liar. Why did you deceive me? I stormed out and confronted Chung Heng, dripping wet, leaving a trail of water on the floor behind me. He glanced up lazily from his game at the computer, a flicker of irritation in his eyes. What now? I had a C-section. The scar is still there. That was from your ovarian cyst surgery 2 years ago. It's in your medical records, right in the drawer. Go look for yourself. You're insane. I pored over the records and sure enough, it documented my ovarian cyst surgery. I searched online and found that the scars from such surgeries are almost identical to those of a C-section. Another wave of pain surged through my head, and my mind buzzed loudly as my body went limp. I collapsed to the floor and burst into tears. Chung Heng walked over and sighed heavily. He patted my shoulder as if to comfort me. I'm sorry, I sobbed, gripping his hand tightly. I don't know why. I always have these strange thoughts in my head. I can't make them go away. You'll get better. Don't leave me. Don't overthink it. Chung Heng didn't promise he wouldn't leave. He only told me not to overthink things, as if avoiding something. In his eyes, I could see exhaustion had already taken its toll. I knew that if this went on, we'd be done for. But every time those memories surfaced, I found myself unable to trust anyone because the vividness of those memories was something only I could understand. They weren't hallucinations. They were real memories. My mind felt like a black hole shrouded in fog, with fragments of memories drifting through it like elusive schools of fish in the deep sea. I could almost touch them, but they always slipped away. The pain of losing my child was a suffocating agony, like drowning while desperately searching for an escape, only to find the water's surface sealed by a thick sheet of ice. I was forever trapped in the icy depths, with no way out. Only my child. Only by finding my child could I live again. My baby. I'm so scared you're lost and afraid without your mommy. My baby, I can't forget you. I will find you. I pushed myself to remember, even as the pain in my head felt like it would split me apart. Even knowing it was an abyss, I couldn't resist staring into it, couldn't stop myself from leaping in. Another vivid scene emerged in my mind, a sunny day in the park, playing with my child, the sound of her laughter ringing like silver bells in the air. I gently called out, "Aya, watch the steps." My daughter's name was Yaya. I remembered the name of that park and immediately drove there. The park was exactly as it was in my dreams, the peeling paint on the weathered swing, the panda-shaped trash can, the wooden bench where I'd sat, and the low step where Yaya had nearly tripped. It was all the same as in my memories. I froze in place, stunned. Those memories were real. I was absolutely certain of it. Why had I forgotten my child? Why was everyone lying to me? Especially Su Qing. If I couldn't trust her, then there was no one left in this world I could trust. She had been my best friend since our school days. In my memories, when I was heartbroken, she drank with me. When I was broke, she lent me money. When I was harassed by a creep, she chased him for 3 streets. Whenever I faced a crisis, she was always the first to rush to my aid. There was absolutely no reason for her to side with Qing Hang, to deceive me. Yet when I searched online for the elevator ads Su Qing had shown me, the original ad didn't feature a baby with a yellow duck hairpin at all. The photo she'd shown me was clearly a Photoshop edit. Su Qing was hiding something from me. I stormed into Su Qing's office, furious, but a nurse informed me she was in a meeting and asked me to wait. Sitting in her office, I casually picked up a booklet from her desk. The title immediately caught my attention: Non-Invasive Memory Erasure Surgery. It detailed the hospital's latest technological breakthrough. Proteins storing memories are located in the brain's neural center, and with neural networking, the system could classify and encode these memories. The procedure identified unstable, painful memories and permanently erased them non-invasively, curing patients from their roots. Scanning the expert contributors, I spotted Su Qing's name. The brochure claimed the technology was mature, non-invasive, quick, and with no side effects. Memory erasure? Could this explain why I'd forgotten my child? I secretly turned on Su Qing's computer, but was met with a password prompt. Just as I was about to give up, a sequence of numbers surfaced in my mind. 191122. I typed it in, and the computer unlocked. What was that number? Why did I know it? Pushing the thought aside, I searched her files and quickly located the folder containing memory erasure surgery records. Sure enough, amidst the endless names, I found my own. 6 months ago, I had undergone memory erasure surgery. The operating physician? Su Qing. Voices approached outside her office. Overwhelmed, I quickly snapped a photo of the record with my phone and shut down the computer. Even after escaping the hospital, my body trembled uncontrollably. Su Qing had erased my memories of Yu.
But why?
I tried to stay calm. The more chaotic things got, the clearer my mind needed to be. My instincts told me that Su Qing was hiding something huge. She must know where my Yu was. I began tailing her. For several days, I tracked her mundane routine, work, overtime, and a quiet personal life. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. One day, I decided to switch tactics. I applied makeup to make myself look more vibrant, grabbed a bottle of wine, and went to Su Qing's home, pretending to be cheerful. I smiled, claiming I felt much better recently and that my relationship with Qing Hang was improving. I thanked her profusely for all her help. Su Qing smiled back. "Jiawen, you don't need to thank me. As your friend, of course I'd do everything I could for you. I'm truly happy to see you recovering." Happy? All I saw was a forced smile. I cooked a sumptuous dinner, raised a toast to Su Qing, and expressed my gratitude. She drank the wine, then collapsed into a deep sleep, a result of the sleeping pills I'd mixed in. While she was unconscious, I searched her apartment thoroughly. Her home was simple and tidy, few cosmetics, not many clothes, and all the drawers and cabinets were well organized. I combed through every corner and finally discovered a small pink box on a high shelf. The moment I saw it, a wave of familiarity washed over me. My heart raced as I opened the box. Inside were tiny yellow duck hairpins, small socks, and a little bracelet, all things I recognized vividly. Memories of them surged back like a tidal wave. At the bottom of the box, there was a photo of a little girl. That little girl was Yu, her face exactly as I remembered it. My daughter. My precious baby. Tears streamed down my face as I trembled, clutching the photo. I kissed it and pressed it against my heart. My baby, you're real. When Su Qing woke up, she found herself tied to a chair. I held a sharp glass trophy to her neck, my eyes blazing with fury. Why did you erase my memories? Where is Yu? My hand trembled, but for my daughter, I was willing to do anything. Su Qing seemed genuinely frightened. Jiawen, calm down. You're the one who wanted to forget. You signed the consent form for the memory erasure surgery. What? You gave me that box. You couldn't bear to throw it away and asked me to keep it safe for you. What are you talking about? I couldn't accept it. I'd wanted to forget Yu. Impossible. What kind of mother would want to forget her child? I erased your memories of Yu because she's gone. Jiawen, no mother can endure the pain of losing her child. My knees nearly buckled. Those were the words I feared most. No, how it happened to her. Someone kidnapped Yu and locked her in a room. She woke up and tried to find you. She climbed out of the window from the 6th floor. Su Qing's voice cracked, tears streaming down her face. It was like being struck by lightning. Just as I regained memories of my daughter, I was met with this cruel reality. The memories came flooding back with excruciating clarity. I saw myself in the hospital morgue, cradling Yu's cold, lifeless body, sobbing uncontrollably. Yu, Mommy's here. Don't be afraid. Mommy's here. I'll never leave you again. That small, icy body no longer felt her mother's warmth. A searing, soul-crushing pain overwhelmed me. I wanted to scream, to wail, but no sound came out. Slowly, everything blurred into darkness. When I woke up, I was still at Su Qing's house. The grief had overwhelmed me, causing me to faint. Su Qing had taken time off work to care for me, checking my temperature, applying a cold compress to my forehead, and cooking millet porridge for me, though I couldn't swallow a single bite. In my half-conscious state, amidst the thick fog of my memories, Yu's image began to fade once more. Su Qing shook me awake, saying I had been crying out for Yu in my sleep. My heart broke again as I imagined my daughter waking up in an unfamiliar room, terrified, and the pain she must have felt in the moment she fell. I couldn't eat or drink, consumed by the grief of losing my child. My body felt like an empty shell, my soul drained, leaving only faint breaths behind. Who did this? Who stole my child? I demanded. Su Qing was silent for a long time before she finally said, "It was a woman your husband, Qinghang, was involved with. She couldn't accept the breakup and wanted to use the child to threaten him." Anger ignited within me like a raging inferno. So, this is why Qinghang hid Yu from me? No, Su Qing sighed. Qinghang also underwent a memory erasure procedure. This was too much for him to bear as well. His surgery was successful, but you're a special case. Su Qing looked at me with pity. Among all painful memories, the most difficult to erase is a mother's loss of her child. The pain is too profound. It cannot be completely erased through surgery. Because of a mother's love, the memories repair themselves over time. That's why every 6 months, you remember your child and come to me for help. When Qinghang returned from his business trip and came to pick me up from Su Qing's house, I could no longer suppress my fury. I slapped him as soon as I saw him and grabbed his collar, shaking him. Who was that woman? Where is she? Su Qing tried to intervene, shaking her head at me in a silent plea for restraint. Her gaze told me it was useless. Qinghang no longer remembered anything. Have you gone mad? Qinghang shouted. roughly pushing me away. Get out. I screamed at him. I can't do this anymore. Yu Jiawen. We're over, he said coldly before turning and walking away without looking back, leaving me to drown in the endless darkness. He gets to forget. I clenched my teeth, directing all my rage at Su Qing. He was the one who got our child killed, yet he gets to forget everything? Why did you let him undergo the surgery? Su Qing looked helpless. We respect our patients' wishes. Strictly speaking, we also keep their procedures confidential. What happened cannot be undone. Who was that woman? I want her to pay for what she's done. She's moved on with her life. She's in a new relationship now, living her life. Moved on? No. Only the people who killed you get to move on. What about you? She'll never get to see this world again. What about me? Why is it that I'm the only one left to bear this pain, the only one trapped in this endless abyss? My voice cracked as I screamed in anguish. This isn't sustainable, Jiawen, Su Qing said, her voice filled with concern. Let me perform the surgery on you again. It's simple, just 5 minutes, and you can forget everything. No. Absolutely not. I can't forget you. If I forget her, she'll truly be gone. I have to remember her, no matter how much it hurts. And I'll make sure the woman who killed her remembers her too. Tell me who she is, Su Qing. I know you know. I don't know. You're lying. Just let it go, Jiawen, Su Qing pleaded, sighing deeply. But I couldn't let go. Those memories were a prison, leaving me no escape. But I wouldn't be the only one left in this hell. One day, I received a promotional text message. Experience the magic of hypnosis. Unlock the depths of your subconscious. The message came at the perfect time. I decided to give it a try. Perhaps hypnosis could uncover the erased memories and lead me to the woman who had killed you. The hypnotist, Dr. Tang, was a refined man who enjoyed offering his clients soothing floral teas. Under the soft, magnetic tone of his voice, a vivid scene appeared in my mind. It was a sunny afternoon. Yu and I were playing in the park. I stepped away to take a phone call, and when I turned around, she was gone. Frantically, I searched everywhere. A passerby said they had seen a woman carrying a little girl and leaving the park. I ran in the direction they indicated, finding Yu's little yellow duck hairpin on the ground. A suspicious car was driving away. I chased after it desperately. As it disappeared from view, I memorized the license plate number. You're awake now. Are you all right? Dr. Tang's voice brought me back to reality. I was breathing heavily, drenched in sweat, my back soaked. You were extremely emotional just now. What did you see? Pen. Give me a pen. I urgently scrawled down the license plate number, clutching it like a lifeline. With the help of a police officer friend, I tracked down the car's owner, Gao Yuqing, a middle-aged man. Strangely, the name felt vaguely familiar, though I couldn't place it. Following the address provided, I found Gao Yuqing. He was a disheveled man with a scruffy beard, running a stationery shop near an elementary school. He spent his days folding paper cranes, looking utterly dejected. I surmised that if he owned the car, he must know the woman who had taken Yu. She was likely someone very close to him. Mr. Gao, may I have a word with you? I approached him, extending my hand. The moment he saw me, his expression changed drastically. His face twisted with fear and agitation. What are you doing here? Get out. I don't want to see you. Leave. Mr. Gao, I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to know the truth. I said as calmly as I could, but he still drove me out without hesitation. His reaction only confirmed my suspicions. Something had happened between us in the past, and the woman driving his car must have been someone he cared about deeply, someone he wanted to protect. After Gao Yuqing drove me away, I didn't leave immediately. Instead, I hid nearby and observed him from the shadows. He closed up his shop in a hurry while talking on the phone, clearly anxious to meet someone. I quickly hailed a taxi and followed him. However, when he got out and disappeared into the crowd, I lost track of him. As I scanned the area in frustration, I suddenly caught sight of him through the window of a nearby cafe. He was seated with a woman talking about something. Gao Yuqing frowned as he spoke, seemingly confiding in her, while the woman, whose back was to me, reached out her slender hand to comfort him. That familiar gesture, placing her hand on his in reassurance, felt oddly familiar. Who was she? A flash of realization struck me. I thought of Su Qing. She had often comforted me in the same way during our therapy sessions. I fixed my eyes on the woman's back, waiting for her to turn. When she finally stood and turned her head, it was her. It was Su Qing. I felt like lightning had struck me. The truth unraveled all at once, and it was brutal. The woman I had been searching for, the one who caused my daughter's death, was Su Qing all along. Su Qing, what's your relationship with Gao Yuqing? I confronted her after she said goodbye to him. My teeth clenched, my body trembling, but I forced myself to stay calm. Su Qing appeared flustered when she saw me. What are you doing here? You're the woman, aren't you? The one who had an affair with Cheng Hang and took Yaya. It's you. Viayun, juve misunderstood. I finally understand. The one who wants to start fresh and erase her sins is you. You thought you could wipe your slate clean by erasing my memories and pretending nothing happened? Su Qing, you're the selfish one who destroyed an innocent life. Doesn't your conscience hurt? I don't know what you're talking about. Still playing dumb? You and Gao Yuqing are closer than you let on. You drove his car when you took Yaya. But then I noticed the blank, confused look in Su Qing's eyes. It didn't seem like she was faking it. Suddenly it hit me. You erased your memories too, didn't you? Jiayun, you're mistaken. I've never had any surgery. Gao Yuqing is my ex-husband and also my patient. We only meet occasionally because of his condition. What? I was stunned but quickly steadied myself. If he's your ex-husband, then you're even more likely to be the one who took Yaya. It was you. Jiayun, your memories can't be trusted, Su Qing said calmly. You've filled in the gaps with your imagination. Shut up. I don't believe your lies anymore. I'll find the truth. And if it's you, Su Qing, I'll never forgive you. Eager to confirm my suspicions, I decided to undergo hypnosis again. This time, under Dr. Tang's guidance, I sank deeper into my memories. The police had found the black car. I rushed to the scene and watched as they pulled a woman out of the vehicle. I saw her back, a petite figure with short black hair, dressed in a red floral dress. Something about her felt deeply familiar. Su Qing. It had to be you. I'll kill you. Overwhelmed with rage, I couldn't stop myself. I pushed through the crowd and yanked her hair, slapping her across the face. When the woman raised her head, I froze in shock. She looked exactly like me. My mind reeled as I stared at her, identical to me in every way. I'm sorry, she sobbed, her eyes swollen and face streaked with tears. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth as she murmured, I'm sorry, Su Qing. I didn't mean to. I never thought it would end like this. Su Qing? Why was she calling me Su Qing? Wake up, Jiayun. I heard Su Qing's voice, pulling me out of the trance. When I opened my eyes, Dr. Tang was gone. Sitting across from me was Su Qing, staring at me coldly. Su Qing? What are you doing here? Where's Dr. Tang? He's finished his task. I think you've seen the whole truth now. It turned out that Dr. Tang was an old acquaintance of Su Qing's. The hypnosis ad I'd received was orchestrated by her. She knew I'd seek him out, knew I'd dig deeper. I don't understand. I was drowning in confusion, terrified of the so-called truth. You still don't get it? The person who caused Yaya's death was you. And I am Yaya's real mother. The memories you have of Yaya? They're mine. No. Words failed me as the world spun around me. Don't you find Gao Yuqing familiar? He was my ex-husband and your former lover. Su Qing sneered, her eyes filled with mockery. Betrayal by my husband and my best friend was nothing compared to losing Yaya. That's the real-life sentence I've endured. And you, the true culprit, went off to live your honeymoon dream with Chunghang. Do you think that's fair? Her words hit me like a tidal wave, flooding my mind with memories I had buried deep. In a small 6th-floor hotel room, a little girl cried uncontrollably. "Yeah, stop crying. Andy will buy you some ice cream." "I want mommy." "Andy will take you to see daddy, but you have to be good, okay?" "Okay," Yaya said, wiping her tears. "Good girl." I stroked her head and then stepped out of the room, leaving her behind. The rest of the events blurred in my mind, but the weight of guilt was undeniable. I shivered with fear, realizing that the person who caused Yaya's death was none other than me. Someone suggested I erase my memories, but how could I? How could a mother forget her own child? Su Qing's eyes burned red, her thin, composed face twisting with anger. After Yaya's death, you and Gao Yuqing both wanted to erase your memories and start fresh. How could the world be so kind to people like you? The ones who should suffer the most are you too. Her voice grew icy. Now, the person who understands me best in this world is you, dear Jaeyoon. For all these years, the thing that kept me going was your pain. That's why I copied my most excruciating memories, the memories of losing Yaya, to you. That's the best punishment for you. Memory copying? So the memories of losing Yaya, all of them, were Su Qing's. Her computer password, 191122, was Yaya's birthday, a detail she had also transferred to me. The real me, the true me, was the mistress who killed Yaya and tried to erase her memories to start a new life. To carve this wound into your heart, to reopen it again and again so it never heals, never scars over. That is the best way to honor my daughter's memory. Su Qing smiled darkly. Oh, and I made a few adjustments during Gao Yuqing's procedure. You understand, don't you? Every time he confides in me, racked with guilt, unable to forgive himself for our daughter's death, the feeling is absolutely exhilarating. Su Qing, I'm sorry. Please, I'm begging you. I trembled with terror, but my vision started to blur. Consciousness was slipping away. Through the haze, I saw Su Qing swirling a half-filled glass of red wine. Thanks to you, I'm no longer alone. Cheers to our shared memories. When I woke up, I found myself paralyzed, lying on the operating table in a memory treatment room. Don't worry, it's just partial anesthesia, Su Qing said as she adjusted a specialized helmet over my head, her eyes fixed on the data flickering across the computer screen. Memory erasure only causes minor electric shocks, no physical scars. I'll erase the negative memories from the past 6 months, and you'll recover soon enough to resume a normal life and work. Of course, she added with a chilling professionalism. I'll also implant my memories of losing Yaya. I'll bury them deep in your subconscious, so they'll only start surfacing 6 months from now. Su Qing smiled as if she were simply doing her job. I realized that in the eternal prison of these memories, she wanted me as her companion. But the pain she was about to inflict was more than I could ever bear. No! I screamed hysterically, but a faint electric current surged through me, and my mind went completely blank.